Today we're going to be turning something like this into something a bit nicer. Now, first of all, next time you clean your kettle with a bit of that lemon juice, pour it in there, boil it up. Remember one thing, we can recycle this water. Put it in a little cup and we'll save that for later. Now go rinse that kettle out. Add a bit of extra salt in there, because it makes everything a bit better. Wonderful.
Warning, don't drink the water.
Alright, so this is your standard knife sharpening block. Put that out of the kitchen cabinet there. But today, we're not going to sharpen a knife. You're going to use the coarser side of this thing. You can get these in a stone or in a block like this. Take your can, and what we need to do is get that lid off. Now, there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can use special openers, some can openers will do it. You want to make sure that it's as smooth as possible so you don't cut yourself. This might take a little while. And off it comes after quite a bit of rubbing. And put it on the smooth side just to smooth it out a little bit. Lovely. Well, off we go. Next job. Still got some stuff on it. Maybe we'll put it in the pressure cooker there. Just to heat it up and maybe make that ink on the outside of the can a little less resilient to our attempts to remove it. Tick, tick. Alright, now we need to draw the logo that we want to put on the can, because we're going to make it a little bit nicer, so we want a nice little pattern on there. So some old plastic from a delivery that came in the mail. So I'm going to cut this out, but first I'll just trace it on here. Just colour in the bits that I want to keep. The bits that you want to actually have colour on. I've used an inverted picture, so all the dark is light and vice versa, and have that on my phone. And I'm just tracing it. So that's my phone inside the bag. Just tracing it with a bit of permanent marker. There we are. And the next job is to just put some old tape that I had lying around on there. It's light coloured on the other side, so we'll turn this inside out and be able to see it. There we are, lovely. And I'm just going to get that out of there now. Thank you. Nurse, scalpel? Oh, sorry. Please, nurse, can I have a scalpel? Thanks. Alright, here we go. Okay. Here you go, you got a little bit of extra time on your hands. Now it's time to cut this out. Remove all the darker places that we just coloured in from there, because what we need is something that will allow a liquid substance through where we want the darker areas to be. So remove all the darker areas and make sure that you're using a non-porous material, which is great for this recycled piece of plastic. Cut around very carefully and remove everything, trying to keep it as a solid piece so that you're not having small pieces that you need to put back into the image later. Just neaten it up. Might be a little bit fiddly cutting through a couple of layers there. It's fine. And I'll just cut out the lettering. Just in case you didn't know, I've sped the video up. Alright, done. Close enough. Cut his nose off a bit. Let's fix that. Good panda. Happy panda. And our can should be just about ready. Be careful getting out of there. It's hot, but the can will cool down fairly quickly once it's out. It is a thin aluminium. Alrighty, now I had some old acetone sitting around in the cupboard. My wife said it was a bit terrible at removing nail polish, so I thought I'd give it a go here. It was bad too, so I used steel wool with it just to help. Now you want to make sure you remove all of the ink off the main body. Don't push too hard so you don't dent the can. You want to just rub vigorously, but not using too much pressure. Let the acetone and the steel wool do the work for you. Make sure you do this in a well-ventilated area because you'll become extremely happy otherwise. You can also use a cutting compound. I had some in the garage that sort of helped polish this up at the end. And there's a clean can. Now you need to get this stuck on there with, you can use like a contact adhesive or some old sticky tape or something like that. And if you don't have it, you can glue it on with something that's going to be able to be washed off again, because you will need to remove it in the end. Alright, so we need your DC power supply. This is an old DC power supply that I've recycled. Put some alligator clips on it that I had lying around, but you don't need that. They just need to make contact. You'll need the positive or the anode to make contact with the actual can itself. And the negative, you're going to put a bit of cotton wool on that. Yeah, this? Just need half a cotton bud. It's good enough. Get that in there, in the alligator clips, because we need to make the current run through this and onto the can. But in between, we need our acidic salty solution that we made earlier from cleaning the kettle and adding the salt. And gently dab that around. To make it overly wet, just wet but not running everywhere. And hold that on there and you will start to hear very slight fizzing. What we are doing here is etching the metal. This is using the electrodes to run through that solution and etches the metal, which leaves a mark on the metal that helps draw our pattern. It'll foam up a little bit so you can clean it up as you're going. The longer you leave it, the darker it gets, the more it etches through, and technically if you held it on there long enough you could potentially go all the way through the metal, but that's very unlikely you're going to do that easily. Keep dipping in there to keep renewing that solution. The cotton bud will get dirty, that's fine. As long as it's damp it'll keep working. And this is a 12 volt 1 amp power adapter off an old device from years ago. I always keep these adapters, they come in handy. They're great for learning and experiments and that sort of thing, so you'll never need to buy another one again. Keep it going, and when you feel that you've got a good consistent color across there, you can clean it up. Any places that look like it might have missed, just hold it on there to get it etched in a little bit more. If you've got a good seal with your adhesive, your stencil, it shouldn't run underneath. You can clean it up with a bit of the solution, remove that, and that's it. Clean it, polish it, and you're good to go. And there we have it. Something that's reused the aluminium. So there we have it. Taking a beautiful little aluminium can and made it even prettier. Now do remember, however, that aluminium is infinitely recyclable, so much better than using those plastics. So always recycle those cans. And if you see one lying on the street, do what I have always done since I was very small. Pick it up, take it with you. Take it to a recycling depot, put it in your recycling bin. It's a very important natural resource. And harvesting the ore from the earth to make more aluminium consumes a heck of a lot of energy. So we need to find more renewable sources of energy for that and recycle everything that's currently in use today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the streams.